Welcome back to Second Take. It's what, episode 12?
Yep.
Yeah, we're killing it over here. I'm Jillian Kushner. You have Armand Sadler over there. We got a lot of NBA to talk about today, but we do have some MLB news. As we talked about a few weeks ago, a pitcher for the Yankees, Pineda, was caught with some suspect substance on his hand. He claims it was dirt. Everyone else thinks it's pine tar. It was over. But then, the other night, he had it on him again. This time they saw it on his neck and on his hand. You know, he came out, he said, yep, it's pine tar. It wasn't my best decision. I'm sorry. He just accepted a 10-game suspension because of it. What do we do with him?
Well, I mean, my personal feelings are that if you know you're doing something wrong, then do it all the way. Like, lie and say, no, it's dirt again. Like, well, why would you do it, get caught for it, and then be honest about it? Like, if you know it's going to happen, don't even do it. Like, pick a side. You play in the middle. Michael Pineda, I just don't really understand why you would do that. You're a great pitcher already. I appreciate having you on the team. You have a lot to offer. I don't think you need to take any unfair advantages, especially against the Red Sox. Like, they're average, as we can tell, because we've been beating them pretty badly the past couple games. There was a 12-5 win last night. I believe a 14-1 win the night before. The Yankees are looking good. They're doing a lot of things that I don't think people expect us to do this season with all the players we lost. So I'm feeling pretty positive about the Yankees this season.
I don't know the deal with Pineda. As you said, I mean, if you're going to say it's dirt the first time, what was your excuse the second time? And then I personally feel like he was trying to get caught. I mean, he put it on his neck, easily visible. He did it again, is the thing. Like, he did it again. I mean, maybe he wanted to get caught. Maybe he wanted a game suspension. I don't know the deal. I mean, Joe Girardi was just like, yep, not his best decision. Just, yeah, I guess we could all say that. It obviously wasn't his best decision, but I don't know why he was doing it. He is a great pitcher. I don't think he needs it. Yeah, that's just the weirdest MLB news. And then, of course, now when we talk about the Yankees, everybody's just like, oh, that pine tar. Just, yes, that happened. We did use pine tar. It's over now. Because we beat the Red Sox, and that's all that matters, isn't it?
Sounds good to me.
All right, so let's dive into all this NBA. We're in the playoffs. It's crazy. It's fun, and we love it. Big thing that happened, the Knicks fired coach Mike Woodson. So already, you know, Zen Master's getting his way. Things are going a lot better. I was saying Carmelo wanted a new coach, so when he says jump, you jump. Or you fire anyone who doesn't jump. And in that case, it was Mike Woodson. This was probably one of the best moves for the Knicks. They need this. They need a new coach. They need some restructuring of some type if they want to keep Carmelo Anthony there.
Definitely. I think that the Knicks firing Mike Woodson was a good decision. He's had a great past couple seasons with the Knicks. He's done some all right things, but they haven't been able to live up to the expectations everyone has for them. So I think Phil Jackson made a great move in getting rid of Mike Woodson. It looks like he's trying to get rid of the entire coaching staff and just create a new organization, which I completely support. I think there needs a lot of change needs to occur for the New York Knickerbockers. They haven't been successful. They want to keep Melo. They want to bring in good players. So I think that starting with a good coaching staff who players want to play for will definitely influence good players that come to New York. So I think Phil Jackson's doing great things, and I know that he's going to make a lot of improvements.
I mean, we can't say like Mike Woodson wasn't a good coach. He was a very good coach, great coach. I just don't think he worked best with the Knicks. And sometimes that happens, and what you got to do is just let it go. And I think he'll get picked up by another team. There are plenty of other teams that need a new coach, like the Lakers. So, you know, I could see him finding another job, but as far as the Knicks are concerned, they needed a restructuring. When you get to that point where you're just in a rut, you got to restructure. So I think that's a great move by Phil Jackson. I mean, he's a Zen master. He's going to make it happen. And I think Carmelo is lucky to have him there because Carmelo's finally going to get the team that he needs.
Yep, definitely.
All right, so you want to talk some playoffs because we have a little bit of a crazy playoffs going on. This one's going to make it hurt for little Armand over there. Memphis is leading the series against OKC 2-1. What's happening, Armand? Tell me what's happening with your Thunder.
Well, as we know, the Grizzlies play us very well. Last playoffs, they actually eliminated us. Although we didn't have Russell Westbrook, so our offense wasn't as good as it could have been. But the Grizzlies are a very defensive team, and they have what we lack, and that's an inside game. With Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph, they do that very well. We don't. So, and Kendrick Perkins and Serge Ibaka just really can't guard Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph. It just doesn't happen. So we're going to get beat there. But they've been very close games. We just haven't been able to pull it out in the end. We've gone to OT with them. Kevin Durant had the amazing 4-point play the other day. Like, we've played very well, but the Grizzlies play us very well, and they're a tough matchup. I'm not too concerned that we're down 2-1 right now. I think that we can get out of this hole. We're going for all of it this year, so we're not going to let ourselves get eliminated in the first round. That's just something that I don't see happening. Kevin Durant is too hungry. Russell Westbrook is too focused. The team is just looking very good despite these losses we've suffered. So I'm really not too concerned. I know we'll get it together.
I mean, I hope OKC pulls it out. Again, Kevin Durant's 4-point shot, that is what everyone was buzzing about. I mean, he's Kevin Durant, MVP. We're going to say it right now. And I don't know what's really happening. I personally feel like Kendrick Perkins needs to go. He has been pointless. He has been useless in his whole NBA career, honestly. I mean, who needs Kendrick Perkins? I'm so sorry, Kendrick. Sure, you're a lovely person, but you don't offer anything to a team. You really just stand there, and it's wasting a spot on the team where they could pick up someone a lot better. So I would suggest to OKC they work on getting rid of Perkins and picking up someone else in this offseason because, I mean, he's not helping the team at all. I do believe that OKC can pull it out against the Grizzlies. I mean, there are a few more games to be played, but I hope they pull it out. It has been very close. As you said, it went to overtime. I mean, great games. I haven't been disappointed so far.
Yeah, one thing I want to say about Kendrick Perkins, though, I do understand why we keep him around. He has experience. He's played in the playoffs before. He has a championship ring. So he does offer something to the team. I just don't – defensively, he doesn't bring anything. His attitude and the fact that he's a veteran is really all he brings. But I think we should start Steven Adams. We had a lot of success with Steven Adams starting while Kendrick Perkins was injured. So that's the move I would make. Kendrick Perkins did have that one clutch shot. That's probably the best thing he's done for us the past few seasons, so I really wouldn't base him staying on us on that one play. I think that we need to look at all he's done the past couple seasons because I think that OKC can succeed a lot more if we get a better big man because, as I said before, that's one thing we lack. We lack an inside game. We live and die by jump shots, and we've died twice of the 3 games we play in the playoffs. So we need to bring something else to the table.
Yeah, I completely agree. Another team that's struggling, the number 1 seed, the Pacers. The Pacers are down 2-1 to Atlanta, and everyone's wondering what's going on, Pacers, because they got their butts kicked in the first game. That wasn't a subtle loss. That was a big loss. And then right now the big problem is Roy Hibbert. A lot of fans are saying that Roy Hibbert should be benched. And he was a very popular player this season. A lot of people like him, but he's not getting it together in the playoffs. For some reason, he's not himself. He's really kind of just flopping around on the court, and everybody's thinking he needs to go to the bench because he's not helping the team.
Yes, Roy Hibbert is playing awfully. I believe his field goal percentage is 29%, which is just awful. The Pacers had that little snide. I wasn't too concerned about them then. I'm concerned now. The Hawks are not a team that you want to go down to. They have a lot of young talent, and if they keep building momentum, they're going to play more confidently, and they're going to beat the Pacers mentally. And once you're out of it mentally, then you're just not going to be able to do it. So I am a bit concerned for the Pacers. I did see them going to the finals, but if they're going to go down 2-1 to the Hawks, then next round they might get eliminated if they even make it. So Pacers definitely need to get their stuff together. Roy Hibbert needs to do something, maybe listen to some jazz before the game, relax himself. I don't know. So something needs to change because he's not playing like the guy they need him to. He's not playing like the guy I know he can play like. He's a very, very talented center.
Yeah, everybody liked him. He's a great player, and for some reason it's not translating during the playoffs, and that can happen to players. Sometimes they hit the playoffs and they get in a funk. That happens because everything's on the line. But right now, they were playing at home, and then they're going to go to the Hawks. And that's going to be a tougher environment to play in, and they're going to need to get it together. I hope they can come back and beat the Hawks, but, I mean, even if they do beat the Hawks in this series, they're not looking good for the next series. And I thought they were going to the conference finals at least. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm shocked. I thought the Western Conference was going to be – I mean, the Eastern Conference was just an easy playoff. I mean, we said it's Heat and Pacers. But, I mean, the Heat are doing their job. They're beating the Bobcats 2-0 in the series, like we all knew would happen. The weird thing that no one's actually talking about is how close those two games have been. They have been pretty close. And if I'm the Heat and I'm playing the Bobcats, I don't want those games to be close. They beat them by like 3 points the other day.
Well, I can kind of understand why the Heat are keeping the games close. I'm sure they're not doing it intentionally, but if you're one of the best teams in the NBA and you're playing one of the worst teams in the NBA who just happen to slip into the playoffs, I wouldn't exert as much energy against them as I would, say, if you're playing the Nets or the Pacers, because you're going to have a lot more competition coming to you. I can't even name the best player on the Bobcats right now, and that just goes to show that they're not that great of a team. So Miami really doesn't need to put forth that much effort towards beating them. They're going to get wins against them. I'm fine with 3-point wins as long as I'm winning and the Heat are most likely going to sweep them. I don't really care what the deficit was that the Bobcats suffered. As long as I'm winning games, that's fine. So, whatever.
All right. Well, we know your view on it, but if LeBron's still going for that MVP, which I recommend you stop, I can't wait to get it. Another one. This one's hitting close to home for me. The Trailblazers are beating the Rockets 2-0, but let's talk about Game 1. Something that happened. The refs in these playoffs are driving everyone, including myself, up the wall. They called a foul on Dwight Howard, which was not even on him, so therefore he fouled out of the game in overtime. So they lost because they needed Dwight on the court. You know, James Harden's kind of been questionable in the playoffs. He's taken some shots that are not well thought out. In the last game that they played, they were down, few seconds left. You know how a second in basketball lasts 20 minutes. So we were going in that last 20 minutes, and James Harden is taking shots that he did not even think about. He is throwing it from the three-point line, just chucking it when there are 20 seconds left on the play clock. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why he's playing this way. I don't know why he's taking these shots, but it's taking rid of one of the leaders of the Rockets. And Chandler Parsons, thank God for him, because he is on there. He is thinking through everything. He is being a great leader for the Rockets. Dwight Howard has been playing amazing, but Dwight Howard was basically born in foul trouble because he is in foul trouble every game. Every time I look up, he has 5 fouls, and he's going to foul out because he's Dwight. But James Harden needs to get it together because they should be beating the Trailblazers. I know the Trailblazers had a surprisingly good season, but the Rockets are a better team.
Yes, I feel that the Rockets and the Trailblazers are two very similar teams in that they have great big men and great guards. You got LaMarcus Aldridge and Damian Lillard. You got James Harden and Dwight Howard. One thing I've noticed about James Harden, ever since the Miami OKC NBA Finals a couple seasons ago, James Harden in the playoffs, he's shaky. I think that his youth gets to him. I think that his lack of experience. He's been in the playoffs a lot, but I just don't think that he's the type of player who can take over in the playoffs yet. He came to the Rockets last season. OKC eliminated them with the injury to Russell Westbrook. That's something that you should jump on. You should attack their guards, knowing that one of their best guards are out. But the Rockets couldn't put the Thunder away. And I think that James Harden is a very, very talented player. And I put him on my top 10 list as one of the best players in the NBA. But he's very young, and he lacks the experience to be a threat in the playoffs like a Tony Parker or a Kevin Durant or a Kobe Bryant. So I think that over time James Harden is going to develop it, but right now you shouldn't put the team completely in his hands because in the playoffs it's not going to work for you.
Yeah, I mean, Dwight Howard's playing amazing. I mean, he had 36 points the other day, I think, something like that. I mean, he's doing great. He's rebounding. He's doing everything. He's Dwight. But James Harden is the scorer, and that's what we attribute him as, and he needs to do that. And taking a Hail Mary shot for literally no reason, not going to do it. And the Trailblazers are seeing that weakness in him, and it's hurting. Like it's doing nothing but hurting the Rockets. And I hope it's just James being James today or something. But pretty soon they're going to be going to Portland and playing there, and you don't want to go down. You don't even have a win.
Yep.
I mean that's not the position you want to be in. It's obvious. Another great series that we have is Golden State Warriors and the LA Clippers. Mm. That's a fun one. The Clippers actually won last night, and now they're up 2-1 over the Golden State. First game, Golden State crushed them. And then the second game, Clippers crushed Golden State. It's a weird little thing, but last night they went head-to-head, close game. I mean, Clippers pulled it out, but it's been a fun series with them too, and I don't really know what's happening. How they switch blowing each other out, but now they're going neck and neck, and it's getting pretty fun.
Yes, they're definitely two very fun teams. You got Lob City and you got Splash Bros. So you're going to see a lot of excitement. Threes being drained, dunks everywhere. That's probably one of the best series in this first round of playoffs to be watching. We saw the very questionable foul on Steph Curry shooting the three from Chris Paul. I do believe it was a foul. I think it was a bad call. I think that the Warriors would have ended up winning that game had that foul been called. But I'm definitely looking forward to the rest of the series. I see it going to 7 games, and I see the Warriors I think they're gonna come out on the winning end.
Oh, no, I don't agree with that at all. I think the Clippers got this. Clippers got it. Chris Paul last night, he was cold-blooded. He was shooting like nobody's business. DeAndre Jordan, you can't stop him, and he's going to make you cry when he dunks over you like that. Blake Griffin, come on. No, I think Golden State is great, and I think next year they are a serious contender. Not this year. They're not going to beat the Clippers. The Clippers are too good. The Clippers are serious in this playoffs. I haven't seen them play this well in a while, and they are serious. Last night, they were serious. That's the best way I can describe it, is they're focused, they're into it. I think, I don't know, the Clippers got something going. I wouldn't knock them like that. I think it will go to 7 games, but I think the Clippers are going to pull it out.
I agree with you on certain points. I think that if you're Chris Paul, you're playing very, very hard because you're one of those superstars in the NBA who does not have a ring. So you're going to rally the troops. You're going to get Blake dunking over people. You're going to get DeAndre Jordan breaking hearts, dunking over people. Doc Rivers has added so much to their team as their new head coach. I think that the Clippers are a very great team. I still don't think that they're one of the I don't think they're top 2 in the West. That's obviously Thunder, Spurs. I think that there's a lot of potential for those teams. Once the Spurs finally get old, which seems like it'll never happen, I don't think Tim Duncan is going to retire at any point in his career. I think he's going to be 80 still playing. But when the Spurs finally do get too old to be as good as they are, I think the Clippers are going to jump on that and be very, very great. I don't think it's their season. I think that the Warriors are just too great offensively. They just have too many weapons. You can't lock up all of them, so that's why I'm going with the Warriors in 7 games. Another thing I want to talk about, Joakim Noah earned the Defensive Player of the Year award. I think that was so very well deserved. LeBron James thought he deserved it. No. Joakim Noah established himself as the best center in the NBA this season with the loss of Derrick Rose once again. He really had to step up, and he did a great job offensively and defensively. The Bulls really have so much gratitude to show to him because he held them up. The Bulls are in the playoffs right now. Really,
he's the first Bulls player to win it since Michael Jordan. Yeah. That's a big deal. That's what everyone's talking about. It's been a while. Joakim Noah is a very good player, and I will give that to him. You know who I'm going to pick as my favorite big man. I'm going to say Dwight Howard. But yes, Joakim Noah is very good. Right now in the playoffs, I mean, no one really cares about this series, but they are losing 2-0 to the Wizards. The Wizards.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Wizards are a solid team too. They have John Wall.
No, you know they're not. They have John Wall, and that's it.
They have John Wall, Bradley Beal, Trevor Ariza. They have something there.
Nah.
It is a pretty boring series. It's 2 relatively teams, but I think that the Bulls are going to get their stuff together and end up winning it. They're not going to go very far because, again, they just don't have Derrick Rose, so they really.
But you can't keep depending on Derrick Rose because clearly Derrick Rose is not dependable.
That's true.
Look at him. Very true. First of all, don't get me started on Derrick Rose because I can't even stand this boy. Because he took the longest time to recover from an ACL tear. And I know that's a very painful surgery. But people come back from much worse way faster. Adrian Peterson and him both injured themselves at the same time. And AP was back way faster than he was. And then Derrick Rose comes back and gets hurt 2 games in. Like, what? Do you not drink calcium? I don't know what's wrong with him.
It's not like Derrick Rose is doing this purposely. He's not coming in with the intention of, I'm going to get injured and see if my team can.
Or maybe he is because he still gets paid. Now you're thinking about it. You're thinking.
I think that Derrick Rose is one of the many players, but one of the many players who plays basketball for the love of the sport. I think there are a lot of people in it for the money, for the fame. I think Derrick Rose genuinely loves basketball. So I'm sure he missed it. I'm sure he wished he could be out there. And the way he plays, he puts himself at risk for injuries. He's very active. He does a lot of aerial stuff. He puts a lot of pressure on his legs. So they're really never going to be able to fully recover. So I don't know if he's going to have to change the way he plays. He's very good at what he does, but it also leaves him a lot of room to be hurt.
Let me shut down your using the legs analogy. I just brought up Adrian Peterson. He almost beat the all-time rushing record for a single season the year after he tore his ACL. So you know Derrick Rose is fully capable of doing at least walking, at least playing, at least jumping. He can do something. If Adrian Peterson is sprinting down the field week in and week out just after he tore his ACL, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not going to pity Derrick Rose on this because he needs to get it together because right now he hasn't become the franchise player, and it's hard to be a franchise player when you don't play.
Very true. Derrick Rose was looked at as the next Michael Jordan by some people. He won an MVP by now. He was projected to have rings, and he hasn't played. He's played maybe 2 games in the last 2 seasons. So
he's like Greg Oden. Greg Oden, he was drafted 7 years ago. He's played he has 19 starts or something like that. There has to be a time when you gotta let these guys go. Or, I mean, I'm not saying get rid of Derrick Rose because maybe he will come back and be what we hoped he would be.
He will.
The Bulls need to pick up someone who can replace Derrick Rose because their excuse cannot keep being, oh, we had Derrick Rose. Because right now, that was 2 seasons in a row that's happened. Okay? No one's pitying you when it happens again. If this happens for a 3rd time, that's on y'all. And y'all got to pick up someone better who can fill in for Derrick Rose when you know he may just get hurt because he's prone to injury.
True. One thing about the Bulls, though, the Bulls have done a good job of playing together with the absence of Derrick Rose. Joakim Noah's offered a lot. Boozer, Kirk Hinrich, Jimmy Butler. They have a lot of solid pieces who aren't superstars, but they're good at their specific roles, and that makes the Bulls a semi-successful team. They haven't been the elite team that they were when Derrick Rose was playing in that MVP season, but the Bulls have still done a good job of being up there. And I think that when Derrick Rose finally returns, and they really need to look into free agency. Carmelo Anthony is going to be a free agent. That would be an amazing pickup for them.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Definitely look into free agency, and I see a lot of potential for the Bulls once they get their health stuff together.
It's just you can't make a team depend on this one guy who's been injured. That's all I'm saying. I mean, look at the Eagles. Mike Vick was getting injured a lot. They went and found another quarterback who's going to do the job just as well, if not better. And that's what you got to do.
Sure.
It sucks, but it's the way things work. You brought up San Antonio earlier. I don't know if you know this, but they're tied 1-1 with the Mavericks. That's something people did not see coming.
I actually have a very good friend. Shout out to one of my best friends, Eric Roque. He's a Mavs fan. I don't know how that happened. I don't think he has any connection to Dallas, but he predicted that the Mavs are going to win in 6 games. And the Mavs are looking good right now. I mean, tied 1-1 with the Spurs. No one expected that. Mavs were the last seed. I'm pretty sure they barely snuck in because the West playoffs are pretty tight with that last spot. But, I mean, they still have Dirk Nowitzki, who's still one of the best power forwards in the NBA. They have a lot of other good pieces. They have Rick Carlisle and Mark Cuban in control of that team. So the Mavericks, you really can't sleep on them because they can surprise you. So we'll see.
I was shocked last year the Spurs got as far as they did. I've been shocked by the Spurs in the past few years because I've never really given the Spurs much credit. So, I mean, I know plenty of Spurs fans, and that bandwagon has flourished in the past few seasons. There are so many people on that bandwagon, I think they have to get another one. But I'm surprised. I am surprised because, Spurs were a top seed. They've had home court advantage, I don't know what's going on. But Mavs got something, though. I think your friend might be onto something. Maybe this is the upset of the playoffs. I mean, I wouldn't put it past anybody. Like, look, the Pacers are down. OKC's down. Does it matter what seed you are anymore going into the playoffs? Not really, because the 1 and 2s, they're down. So.
And if you look at 3 seasons ago, the Spurs were the number 1 seed in the West, and they got eliminated by the 8th seed Grizzlies. So the Spurs do have a history of being knocked out in the first round. So maybe this isn't much of a shocker if the Mavs end up winning this series. The Mavs play hard. The Mavs know that they're not the team they were when they won the championship. So they play extra hard to remind people that they're talented. And if they can beat the Spurs, then the Mavs are right back up there as a legitimate contender.
At what point are the Spurs too old is what I'm wondering. At what point do you start looking for replacements for these guys? For Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, you're looking at some guys that are getting up there. Isn't it? It's someone's birthday today. It's one of those guys' birthdays, and he's up there. I think it's Tim Duncan's birthday, so happy birthday, Tim. But He's getting old. He is. And I mean, he's not playing like it, but at some point they're going to be playing these younger teams, and it's going to start to hurt them because they're not going to be as swift and fast as them just because that's what happens with age.
Right. But one thing that the Spurs have done well is that they've added a lot of young talent the past couple seasons. Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard have been great for them. They have a lot of young guys who they brought in, and even though their core is old and eventually they'll be gone, I think that the Spurs have a lot to look forward to in the future. Anthony, who's been on the show a few times, looks at Kawhi Leonard as he's going to be one of the best players in the NBA in a couple seasons. And right now, he's one of the few players who can lock up LeBron. He's 22. He can play great offense and great defense, so he has a lot to offer. Danny Green is a sharpshooter. The Spurs really have a lot of youth that will be able to take over for that core when they're gone. But I don't know when the core is going to get too old. I just don't. I don't know.
And I mean that's not a decision any of the owners want to make. Here's a game that nobody cares about. Brooklyn and Toronto tied 1-1. Well, the rapper Drake thinks that Toronto's going to win it all, but wouldn't hold your breath there, Drake. Wouldn't hold your breath.
Drake is my favorite rapper, and I can't agree with that statement. I would honestly agree with most things Drake says, but Raptors going all the way. No, sorry.
I haven't even watched that series because I think I actually caught like a minute and I was like, I'm bored. Like it's boring. Those are two teams that just aren't. They don't give you what you want to see in a game, and that's life. That's enough of the playoffs. We have a little bit of news about who's going into the draft. We discussed that Julius Randle is going, James Young is going. Well, Kentucky's losing everybody, except they got the Harrison twins. Harrison twins announced today they want to win a championship. Done.
Great.
They're staying.
Great. Kentucky has a lot to look forward to. There's also a lot to look forward to in the NBA draft. As I said, there's so much talent that even that great teams like OKC and Miami are going to end up with good picks. I know they are. So it's just a lot to look forward to with the NBA and college basketball. Kentucky's going to be elite next year. I know that. They bring in great players because a lot of people want to play for that team. So it's going to be a good season for them.
Oh, yeah. No doubt in my mind. Texas is going to be pretty good. Oh, here's another thing I need to bring up. How could I not talk about this? Charlie Strong, the new Texas football head coach, announced the other day that the Texas Longhorns will not be in the national championship this year. I read that, and I was like, what, Charlie? Why not? Why aren't we going to be in there? And I'm wondering, is this a tactic to motivate these guys? Like, hey, y'all aren't very good, so you're not going to make it, and then make them play better. Because Mac was known to overhype everything. The past 6 years, we're BCS contender this year. We're BCS contender this year. And every year, we all believed it. Every year we believed it. Because you can ask anybody. I told them, no, we're going to be BCS contender this year, and we haven't been. We've come up very short. But now Charlie Strong's saying we're not making it.
Yeah, Charlie Strong is bringing change to that program. In my opinion, new is always better. I've said this plenty of times. So I think that it is a tactic by Charlie Strong to motivate his players because if your coach doubts you, then you're going to work hard to prove your coach wrong. I know when I played football and my coaches told me I wasn't as good as I wanted to be, it motivated me to work harder and get better. And eventually I got to where I wanted to be. So I'm very certain this is a tactic by Charlie Strong to motivate his players to play well. Texas is a good team. I don't know if BCS contenders this year, that they've lost a lot of talent, but I think that Texas can get there, that they have a great program, and a lot of people want to play there. Even though Mac Brown is gone, who wouldn't want to say I'm a Longhorn? So
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm a Longhorn. I love it. I mean, Charlie Strong got me a little upset about saying that, but I was also at the spring game last week. We had a huge turnout. Everybody wanted to see the new coaches. There's probably like 50,000 people there. And we still have this problem where we don't have a quarterback. We just don't have one. You know, David Ash broke his foot in training, so he's out until probably August before the season starts. Right now, ESPN's even saying he's looking like the starter. But we had Tyrone Swoops, now he's going to be a sophomore because they ruined his red shirt last year, and Miles Onyebule, who's going to be a senior this year, I think. And Miles was originally at receiver when he first got to Texas. They moved him around everywhere, and he's just now playing quarterback. Tyrone, he's still very young, showed his youth. The first pass he threw in the game was an interception. Yeah. And I'm sitting there wondering who is going to play quarterback, because I don't think David Ash is the answer, and I don't think these guys are the answer. and I want to sit down with Charlie Strong and I need to tell him what we need because I know the quarterback we need. We need a quarterback who is the team. We are not a team that revolves around a running back or a defensive player. We are a team who worships the quarterback. We need a quarterback who is a big name, who is known everywhere. We need a Vince Young. We need a Colt McCoy. That's the type of team we are. We need that, and these guys aren't it right now.
I agree. Texas has had a history of quarterback issues. I remember a couple of seasons ago you had Garrett Gilbert, Case McCoy, and David Ash, and they would constantly cycle all of them at the starter. There wasn't always a consistent starter who the receivers and running backs could get comfortable with and build chemistry with. So I think that one thing Texas does need to do, as you said, is bring in a quarterback who they can decide is the guy. They're going to stick with him the whole season, and chemistry can be built because that definitely contributes to success. Being able to know where your receivers are going to be, what their specific routes are, what their skills are, that'll definitely help. So that quarterback issue. And as I've said before, you can't have a great team without a great quarterback, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I mean, our running game's looking great. I mean, Jonathan Gray's still recovering from his Achilles surgery, so he wasn't playing in the spring game. But we did have Malcolm Brown, and Malcolm Brown played one heck of a game. He was great. Dejae Johnson was back from suspension, and he was at receiver, and he played very well. You know, there are other aspects to this team that are very promising. Some of the receivers, you know, we didn't use any of our tight ends, as usual. We haven't used tight end in maybe 7 years, so wasn't surprised about that. But our receivers, we need the receivers to stand up because we had Mike Davis last year, and Mike Davis was a big name. And now he's gone, and there's all these younger guys. We have guys, I mean, there's always Jackson Shipley, and he's always going to be great because he's a Shipley. And then we have, you know, Kendall Sanders, who's very fast. We have Marcus Johnson, who's extremely fast. These could be great receivers. Then we have the young guys coming up. One of the guys, this is actually a great story, Montrell Meander. He's he was redshirted last year, and he actually was going for a pass, and it hit him in the head. So, you know, you want to get that together, Montrell. But, I mean, we had the possibility to be so good, but I don't want this to be another, oh, we were a BCS contender, and then we came up short.
Yeah, definitely. I see positive things for Texas. So I think Charlie Strong's going to get it all together. So I wouldn't be too pessimistic about Texas' future. To talk about some draft picks, Johnny Manziel and Jadeveon Clowney have visited some teams lately. Clowney is set to go visit the Falcons. I believe they're the 6th pick in the draft. So I don't see him falling that low. I'm pretty sure he'll go top 3, but why not visit them? I think he would be pretty good on the Falcons.
And I'm pretty sure they both visited the Texans on the same exact day, which could get a little weird. Another thing is the Cowboys said that they want Johnny Manziel, and Jerry Jones was talking about that right in front of Tony Romo. I mean, the Cowboys have a later pick, not that late because they obviously weren't very good last year, but they're saying if Johnny Manziel's still around for that, they're probably going to pick him up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Tony Romo is the guy. I know we've argued before. I think Tony Romo's a great quarterback. He lacks clutch abilities. But Johnny Manziel will be a pretty good pickup for the Cowboys. I think he'll be successful anywhere he goes with receivers like Dez Bryant and, with just Dez Bryant, honestly. I think that would be a really good connection.
Honestly, all you really need is Dez Bryant. I'm not going to lie.
As long as you have someone who can get the ball to him, then he's gonna score and he's gonna get his reception. So.
Yeah. Yesterday, or 2 days ago, the NFL schedules were released, and the things to look for is that there are a lot of former players, since of all these crazy trades, playing their old team. I know Deshaun Jackson is looking forward to that date against the Eagles, and that's something that's going to be highly covered because a lot of players are leaving their old teams, and they're going to be playing them.
Yeah. They've also decided to televise the first wildcard game on ESPN. Historically, they've done it on CBS or NBC or Fox, but the fact that it's on ESPN will definitely bring in a lot of publicity, a lot of money for ESPN. That was a smart move by them. So that's something to look forward to. I'm looking forward to the Colts doing well, Peyton Manning doing well. Just can't wait for the NFL. I miss it so much. We've only got a few more months, though.
I miss the NFL so much. I miss college football so much. I miss football as a whole. The draft is in less than 2 weeks. They pushed it back this year. It would normally be this coming week, but of course they had to make us wait even longer. So we will finally see who is going as the #1 pick. I'm still saying it's Jadeveon. But who knows? You know, they might play us all and pick Blake Bortles, or they might play us all and pick someone that no one even thought would go first.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to look forward to. Definitely a lot of uncertainties. I'll be watching the draft very, very closely. Can't wait, though. Definitely can't wait.
It's going to be a fun one. All right, guys, we've covered just about as much as there is to cover right now. You know it's slow. It's the off season of most sports, but we have more NBA playoffs for you next week. We'll have more MLB. Hopefully people stop using pine tar. We will see, and you'll find out next week. Thanks for tuning in, guys.